Animal Shelter with Mr. Glenn Berry.
Okay, thank you. I'm will address animal shelter first. Betty Copeland is the new director for the animal shelter. And, she has taken that position over in the last couple of months. And so she is responding to an email that we had requested her presence, and she was just, mentioning in the email that she's going through a challenging time filling some, roles there at the animal shelter. Obviously, paying $12 per hour, she would have, a challenge in front of her. She also mentions in here that he is currently working 65 to 70 hours a week to try to maintain properly and consistently the duties that she has taken over. Much of the paperwork was disorganized with this, and I'll go over that in just a minute. And she is actively working to correct some of the problems they had in the past and build some structure, not physically, but physically. And she's also discovered that the Facebook page was deleted, taken down, and they're having to do a new Facebook page. And she, her primary goal is to ensure that the animals receive proper care and to strengthen her staffing, which may include increasing the wages, I believe. So she appreciates our invitation. She did say she would forward me a budget, and I'll make sure it gets to everyone else. So if you take her, her email, and then, I believe if you look at the budget that we have for animal control, it had down, one of the last items is the cost for the animal shelter. And so, that's currently at I think it's $115,000 some odd dollars per year. We have to pay, but that is our cost. And that is based on the formula, which I think is based on the number of citizens in the county. I believe that's right. So, and so that's our cost to the animal shelter. And we always, we're given a certain number of slots there at animal shelter. And the biggest complaint I get from them is that we're always taking to other counties. And so we're using the Tri-County Animal Shelter to try some potential for Gates County. Within that, I get more complaints about using one for shoreline deployments, because we have one part-time animal control person, and those other two counties have two full-time staff members, and we produce as much or more than each of those counties. So that's the biggest complaint that I get with them. She would merely complain if she was, because I've spoken with her.
Effective animal control officer feels like it's
Oh,
not.
no, Tri-County, just because we're.
Because-
Spots for your lawn and questions, because they got to set them back.
Are we hindering Tijuana Women's from being able to bring things by taking spots, or are they? I mean, that would be my question, like, are we,
I don't think we're displacing them. I think we're taking vacant slots.
that's what my question
The
is.
same as vacant slots reserved. for-
That's right.
Which they were applying, they would go and do more if they only had this.
See, I advised them to, increase euthanasia, that's what.
Well,
But anyway,
Yeah.
that's,
I'm teasing.
that's just, they're trained to do euthanasia, so that's why they're tonight. So, as far as the animal control budget, it's, I did increase. One thing I did want to say about the animal shelter that I did mention a while ago, that many of y'all may remember last year, Dana McMaster's wanted to increase her budget to include a new roof and also some new kennels. Just to my knowledge, I know the roof's not replaced and the kennels have not been purchased. They have looked at different kennels, but at a lower price kennel than what David Damascus was looking at. But I know, the roof has not been replaced, nor has the kennels been replaced to this day. They did do a lot of work on the flooring. They replaced, a good part of the flooring, especially where the dog kennels are, but no new roof. And no new kennels as of today. And so that I would anticipate it being in next year's budget also.
So we had in the budget, they just haven't spent money.
I can't tell you where their budget,
I remember having the roof discussion. I remember
We did,
Tab saying,
yeah.
yeah, the roof isn't that old compared to some. But the
Right.
kennels part, I thought I remember us supporting the.
Right.
well, we eventually approved both.
Okay,
Okay. You did, you know.
I didn't want to, okay, yeah, that's what we did.
The approval of the other two counties
Yeah.
as well, and
Okay.
have to, joint approval.
So best the money was there, but what it's been used for.
It'd be, yeah, who knows what reason.
That's right. But I did not increase our animal control budget. This past year, we do have, Al Parker got certified and using the tranquilizer gun within the last 2 months. We have been relying on Hertford County funds to help him
Yeah,
if it was ever needed. So he recently has gotten certified. So we got that in part of this year's budget. Next year, we always kind of update his training if needed, but, we're just trying to, keep our spending to a minimal and keep him, no more than 80 hours a month, which is really challenging to do.
Right.
Any questions about,
Have any?
God, you answer, I've got to answer about the roof and the kennels, to be honest with you.
Most they should have waited for one storming down. The girl that they responded to the rescue squad, issued yesterday, regarding the lady that had lost part of the leg, but that was, interesting. It never changes, it's something different every day, and I'm involved, so just, we're having a good time, and I enjoy being, but what we call the HD2, I'm second in command. The answer to calls when he's not taking.
Separate question. The Peter lady that came to visit us or whatever has followed up with some emails since the visit now. Do they come and visit? I mean, they can do stuff. They'll do it incognito, but they also will do it sometimes openly. If they,
We've had a visit from Rachel Ellis,
yeah.
and Rachel, they had an issue, something that we followed up on. But she and her group wanted to take the animals and not include the county in that, but include the sheriff's department, because they wanted to make sure they had protection. And so, the sheriff did go out there. The sheriff wanted to include, I think, animal control, but he just said, no, we'll keep that separate. It's us, and it's the protection of the sheriff, and they took the animals. It's probably like 10 of them. So, they were involved in that, and she's waiting, for my invite to come and visit our dive board in the coming months. Yeah, that's right. Nine people. We should be meeting within the next 30 days if we can agree to a dive.
Okay.
I've got some supplemental items. You need something between now and then.
Would that be, do we need to switch anything? Okay.
Put it on the sign.
So this was historical. As the board will recall, we've got at least one, maybe two new special appropriations. One is the Kids First
Yes.
program.
Yes.
They will be set up in the special appropriations category. That will not be part of DSS or any other department budget. Because Kids First also serves law enforcement and others. So it will be a separate line item in your budget. And 8,300 is the departmental code for special appropriations. And I just printed out what's in the current budget, but this gives you kind of a historical review of some of the programs that have been funded in the past. And just mostly for information, but this is where we will be, budgeting into the funds for the groups like this program. I was thinking, if you will know that I'm not going to do this.
Who actually do the beaver management program? Who from our department, do you know? I mean, it's handled
It's with, yeah,
from College Extension. Yeah. And expensive, yeah, that's, yeah.
It's basically a referral, because they have contractors. that do
I've used them, actually, they're really good. I've used them several times in Hertford. And that's why I was asking, because they would say, hey, who's your point of contact? We had as our utilities department, it was their primary point of contact, to call them out. But of course, here it's different. There, we manage the storm sewer and everything else, extension officer.
And there's some interesting approaches in Harnett County. They used a beaver control person who used a sniper rifle.
Yeah.
And he would pick those beavers off as they were working at night from more than a half mile away.
Might be the same guy. He's good.
This was a real big, tall guy. You'd remember him. I mean,
He's not that good.
no, this guy would fill the door frame when he came in. He had a case that was about as big as this table that he brought it in to show the commissioners at a meeting like this. Yeah, beaver management's a valuable service to have available.
So I see the Albemarle Commission RPO to match. Is that the only contribution we make to that?
Well, that's, which one, I'll make sure I'm responding.
61601,
8,300.
yeah, 601 first page and
Yeah, but there should be another Albemarle commission for the general.
Okay, that's, oh, I see, there's a food bank one, okay, sorry. I guess I thought they would all be going together, that doesn't make sense.
So why on
Senior
the,
games,
why for the jump on the housing committee from 7,000 to a requested 20,000 and recommended 10? That's a big jump.
Well, this was last year's budget.
Okay, so,
And
yeah.
if you recall, they made their presentation and they were encouraged to.
by me, actually. To be honest with you, Don, maybe I participate in Albemarle Commission, we're,
This is like projections.
I was looking at you at the top. I thought this was coming forward for the next.
It's not even showing you projections.
Sorry. It's for John.
But their request,
It's a good question.
but their request did come in recently and they are asking again for 20,000. Just to make that honor.
Good heads up there. No, yeah, I should pay attention to dates. I apologize.
So just to know, that I did, last year I did, I was saying, hey, the housing thing, this is a great thing, but now that I understand it better, we're the only county that's doing this housing stuff independently. Everybody else, including Hyde, was the last one to close it off. They've turned all of the housing assistance programs over to the Albemarle Regional Office. We're the only guys out of 10 counties that are still trying to fund and do it independently.
You know, I'd like to just mention for you, it's on the, next to the last page, it's line item 695, 8,300, 695. Warren was our representative this week. This is the Albemarle Resource Conservation and Development Group. And they typically like to have representation from a large landowner, farm owner, farm, timber, what have you. But they pull down state and federal resources to do some special projects they've helped support some of the work here at the Bennett's Creek Bridge for the canoe launches and things. And you may have heard about some of the programs.
Yeah, they're doing, right now, they're doing some programs at Camp Kill to, reduce erosion on the shoreline. I would love to get them down here and do it at the wildlife bank down the road, down the neighborhood. I would love to see them, get that.
We're still hopeful that wildlife was gonna fund that. We had heard.
Yeah, I know.
They were on the list. We may need to double check.
Yeah, but they, yeah, but they also do, You know, if you look at the East Coast, they spend, a lot of time, on marshland and making sure, wetlands stay wetlands, and that's hard to do. If you go to the boat banks and places like that, and they, put more emphasis on that recently. But again, Can Kill is a beautiful place if you, they done a lot of work there, and like I said, they are, putting bulkheads and things in place to reduce erosion and make sure that beach, stays intact. And that's what, well, some of the things I saw there. But they're, they have an office in Wilmington now that, is headed up by a guy, his first name's Isaac, but it's, I heard McCleskey speak, I don't know if I told you that Jim McCleskey from the Washington DC and Point DC, has worked with 4 or 5 buildings.
So is it a federal agency?
That's a good question.
It's kind of like soil and water conservation. It's got federal, state, and local components.
The longer I stayed, I had more questions, so Jim McCleskey was the guest speaker. He works in Washington DC, and he is paid by the Department of Transportation. Probably in that way. It's just, unbelievable. I think we're actually the Congress, they, employee that is paid out of that budget, but anyway. But it is, interesting, too, it's first time I visited with them. But this,
We had 1 or 2 slots on that board, but we really need somebody.
Is it the board is like a multi-county board?
Yeah, it's,
How does it work?
that's a good, yeah, so I met Troy Leary, he's from Camden County.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He
Yeah.
said with Tiffany White, he's
Yeah.
the commission.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
She knew you.
Yeah, I went on commission. Yeah.
And,
She's good with it.
yeah, and so, they have a guy named Mr. Sour, who's spent in York. I
Uh-huh.
don't know if he's in
Yeah.
relation to anyone here, but, I was interested later, but it ended so late, I was interested to get back here. Okay, check on the fire.
it is a long night.
It was,
So where's the meeting? That's what I'm trying
it
to
was at Camp Kill, that's what they had to be.
So it could be Camden and
So-
Aspen Thing.
He had gotten the invitation, was gonna go, and then I ended up having to work
I
past
saw it.
6 o'clock, and it started at 6, but, because I had it on my calendar till then.
No, would recommend, if y'all are invited next time, and especially
Yeah.
if it's at Camp Kill, it's, yeah.
But Shoreline has been a host, other counties have been host locations, and we could sort of be there for Mill Pond.
Just understand what they do, you know, exactly how they're arranged, yeah.
Yeah, but planning grants, that's a big part of, they fund a lot of land grants, which I sort of use to, create, or making sure marshland is not, created to have more tourists. That's, I think, that's why it has to work Wilmington right now. Yeah.
I was wondering, because of that, because my kids went there for church and stuff. And I've never been. I mean, I drove by it, but never been.
I've always heard about it, and I just where I was going, to be honest with you. If you want to, I still have the resume. I can, scan that over to you, probably can look at it.
That's what we say, don't do it for children.
And,
I don't think why, everybody, that's what it is, better to go to the hour-long meeting and hear them speak than to try to go back and read it out. It's like,
It looks like the food would be delicious.
so the money that it's showing, it shows us. What is the, is that like a project or something?
Yeah, well, that's, and I don't know if it's coming on, per county basis, we contribute $750. Is that,
It was done on the formula they've got, they're trying to,
That's what's trying to get, that's
because we're
what's
trying
trying
to
to
have a full-time executive director, he's been part-time.
No, that's what's trying, that's what's asking, how big was most of the, like, 10 counties. That's not as much at all. You know, if they're trying to fund a body, if you charge 25, then that's pretty good. Yeah, always contribute.
and I think they, from what I understood many years ago, is they help, like the state park there, the sign side on the outer banks.
Yeah.
With all the brush and trees, I can't remember this, that's the, it's not Jockey Creek State Park. It's
I think it's something.
Yeah, they do help, a lot of the state parks, not what they are getting money. You know, ours is probably- Like you said, I find state, I probably should ask two questions, but.
But I wasn't sure, but these are Facebook, so I wasn't sure.
Yes, yeah, well,
Right.
Most people from Washington DC do that.
Okay, because I was just looking at that. There. Keep it in mind on me, but I'm not sure. So it requires.
what's the Albemarle vote?
The Albemarle Hope Line,
That was before they went into that contract.
Albemarle Hope Line, what is that? I was curious.
I don't recall.
They are a 501c3, that does, I want to say, I'm gonna say this wrong, I think it's women, like.
So it's-
Battered women.
That may,
Okay,
yeah, that may
okay,
be.
that's good, that's good.
It's a good, I can't remember specifically what it is, but I think it is women specific or like,
Yeah, we can pull that.
I believe.
And again, if you'd like to have anybody come in and speak to the board, it's perfectly.
I'm weary of it like too many, you know,
Right.
because everybody wants to come,
Right.
if they think it's.
I think we need to, if Gates Partners for Health is actually active. The Gates Housing Committee, he had questions about the, food bank of the Albemarle. I'd love to know if that's to the food bank of the Albemarle, that would be the biggest challenges,
Best thing I think of names,
which I can get these questions.
Plus, they get alcohol retailer.
well, yeah, like the
Which one,
food bank,
was that wrong?
she was saying it's,
Is it domestic abuse?
she just said, what did she do? She said it also did alcohol.
Okay. I feel like that's what she said.
Yeah, so yeah, she got, our mission, she got the page, our mission, the elimination of domestic violence and sexual assault through education, intervention, support, transitional assistance, until the dream comes true.
That's what I was thinking, was domestic violence.
Yeah.
I say, yeah,
All right, and then the food bank alcohol,
That's-
$2,500.
that's what I was asked, yeah.
I think that goes to this city.
I think that used to City is not for Jim's hearing house, but
Right.
yeah,
But, if you go to one of their things and see it, they actually support you.
they do,
Do a whole bunch of other.
they do,
Yeah, that's $2,500 done.
right.
I took into the food bank album while my wife and I turned to the schools and see you.
Is the Chamber of Commerce in here?
They are, and the Chamber of Commerce has been really trying to market Gates County in a big way. They asked for 10 last year, we gave them 5. Not sure what their request is this year, but I do think that they are doing a ton to build and market small businesses in Gates County, and I think if they have a different request, we should consider it. Because there are, like, they are working to advertise Gates County and market Gates County in a way that we have never had, right?
Yeah, I see they still have one here, the annual Swamp Fest.
Yeah.
No, it's not fun.
A long time ago.
And it's unfunded.
Yeah.
No, this is a good list.
And this could be a fair snapshot.
Yeah,
So the tourism.
I was just looking at that too.
What was that?
That was an ad hoc group that without, Linda Hoffer here, I think they
So-
kind of lost their.
And specifically up there, I've talked to Helen Miller and also up there, one thing that has fallen apart, something that we talked about picking up with this A250 thing happening now, and then coming off of that, picking up the tourism committee again. Because the strategic planning committee is also talking about, again, marketing Gates County, tourism, bringing people in, we have, the mill pond, we have different things. The strategic planning committee is wanting to do things like host a marathon type thing with a 5K type thing and a kayak in the mill pond and do that kind of thing, things that will require funding, but bring people in for tourism. And so the tourism committee will be branching off of strategic planning and A250 as we go forward with community events,
Well, that'd be good because they've been real active.
trying to bring people in.
Huh, I've never even heard of them.
Yeah, I don't know what they did before, that's the new vision for it.
Senior games, that's pretty cheap. $200.
And honestly, like, yeah. the
Senior,
seniors.
so the senior nutrition program, 30K. Who executes that?
I think that comes through the Albemarle Commission.
That's actually what I was thinking, they do that part of Meals on Wheels.
Yeah.
That goes to
Yeah.
Albemarle,
Yeah,
specific for that program.
It goes through the community center. I think they still need volunteers that.
so, but, I mean, that's what I'm saying, is who actually, who do we hand the check to for the money?
I think that's Albemarle Commission.
The senior
Think
nutrition.
that work. So it goes to Alpha Commission, we used to operate out of the community center with the Meals on Wheels?
Yeah.
Sorry, okay.
Okay,
Good question. The next meeting.
it's funny you say that, that's actually what I was thinking, they talk about it. And a lot of times they alluded to it, they're gonna be getting money from various, and like with the Kids Alliance thing, when they initially told me that we didn't fund any, I'm like, yeah, right, and she said, that was dumb. I'm like, hey, come on, seriously, I think I'm really, and she says, I'm sure why.
Are we
Well,
still,
you know,
yes,
So they asked me about this,
we're gonna break for lunch and get our lunches to get ready for the planning and development. That was helpful. I like that speech. That was historical.
Good.
I didn't know we